I said something like, I've only been out of vet school about 10 years and I have thought about leaving the profession, because it was a post about something about like young veterinarians leaving the profession. And that was what I had said was, I've been out like 10 years and I'm already like sometimes regret and wonder if I could get out of being a veterinarian.
So do you believe you were burnout?
Well, I do. I think I was, at least of that job. I mean, of where I was. I feel like in the couple months now that I've been at a new job, well, a couple months, I've been here at a new job for about a month, but I've left my other job about a month and a half. My husband made some comment to me the other night about like how much of a better mood I seemed in the evenings. And like, I think that just says a lot to where I was carrying a lot more home than I was letting myself think that I was.
Did that 12-year-old standing in the doorway think that she would be carrying home all these emotions to her bed every night?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Here's something nobody tells you when you're sitting in that white coat ceremony, feeling like you finally made it. Nobody tells you that getting into vet school might actually be the easy part. I know that sounds insane because getting in nearly killed most of us. But stay with me. My guest today was told by her organic chemistry professor to her face that she should find a new career. She applied to Michigan State, did not even get an interview. Not a rejection after consideration, just silence. So she went to Ross. She packed up her life, took a husband to a Caribbean island, and fought for a veterinarian that half the profession still looks down on. That was 10 years ago. Since then, she has worked at many corporates, worked private, done relief, moved across the country more times than she can count for her husband's career. Had 3 kids and cycled through clinic after clinic looking for one, just one clinic that would not slowly destroy her from the inside out. 4 weeks ago, she started somewhere new again. And the fact that I have to say again is the whole point of this episode. Dr. Jillian Vander Yacht is not a cautionary tale. She is the norm. And that should scare every single one of us. Welcome to Irreplaceable Truths. We're gonna have some fun on this episode. Basically, one of the things I really want to start with is we, just so everyone knows, we got together before this started about 2 weeks ago, and Jillian and I had a little chat, and basically it was very interesting. So your whole thing started when you were a little girl watching a surgery through a window, right?
It wasn't through a window. It was in the doorway. It was
Through a doorway.
In the doorway, standing there. I can clear as day see the doorway in my head and like standing there watching surgery. When I was about 13, my parents had a friend who was a veterinarian and let me come and watch summer afternoons. I would watch surgeries. I think it was a Tuesday, like Tuesdays that he did surgery later in the day, and I would watch surgery.
So you started building that identity at that age, at 13? You're like,
yeah,
I'm going to be a veterinarian.
I mean, I was 12, 13, knew I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Okay, so how does that 13-year-old's Tuesday compare to reality of veterinary Tuesday?
I have to use my brain a lot more than I did then. Then it was just soaking in everything and doing what somebody else told me to do and like helping with things. And now it's a lot harder to be the adult and to have to make the decisions and know what to do. That's the biggest difference, I would say. Yeah.
Did you ever really, when you look back at that 12, 13-year-old girl looking through the doorway, do you ever get to the point where you're like, man, I wish I would have pivoted just a little bit?
Yes, definitely. I think that I never really got, I don't know, maybe in a way I didn't let myself explore other options, maybe as much as I could have or should have. Um, so I think in that regard, having taken time to really like know what I was missing out on or like what could have been other options, and I can't really explain why that is. Like it wasn't um I just never gave myself time to like let there be another choice, I guess.
You're zoned in. Just yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the common story. Like
Yeah.
you talk to 100 veterinarians, I would say at least 85 have that same story.
Yeah.
Like you fell in love with animals, or you got that experience as a young girl at a veterinary clinic,
Yeah.
and you get the bug. It's almost like a disease that you're like, yep, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
No other
I
choices.
also like have a very distinct memory of being in high school, and like it was like National Honor Society induction, and they like read off like the people being in, the students being inducted, and I remember them like they would read off your name and what you wanted to do when you grew up, what career you wanted or whatever. And I remember like standing there and hearing like person after person like, oh, this one wants to be a doctor, they want to be a doctor. And I remember when they said that my name and that I wanted to be a veterinarian, I thought in my head, like, most of these other people, like they might not end up being doctors, but I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna be one that does what I set out to say that I'm gonna do. So
How soon into your career did that Tuesday not look like what you thought it was going to be? You're like, shit, I didn't sign up for this.
yeah, I think it was probably, at my first job where I kind of got thrown into it was like three of us, very, very new grads. One had only been out a year, and then me and another doctor that had just graduated. And for a while, we didn't have another senior doctor. Um, and I just remember being like, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. And like, we were just kind of thrown to the wolves. And I also feel like for some reason, like every dental that I did had a carnasial tooth extraction. Like it was like it never failed. Like I would have a surprise, oh, slap fracture on a carnasial tooth. And that was the time where I was like, oh my gosh, like this is really hard, and hard in more than just like I don't know what I'm doing. It was hard because of like staffing issues and people and conflict, and it wasn't just like, hey, I get to do veterinary medicine. It was like everything else that came with it. I feel like that made it hard.
And while you're an undergrad,
Yeah.
and you're working your ass off to get there,
Mm.
what didn't you tell me you had a professor that basically told you there's no way in hell you're going to do this?
Yeah, so I was the kid in high school. I didn't need to study in high school. High school was easy. I mean, I tried, but I made A's and B's, probably more A's than B's. But like high school was easy, and I really struggled when I got to college because since high school was so easy and I didn't have to study, I didn't learn to study. I honestly don't think I really even learned to study until vet school. Like, just because I was a smart kid and it just it wasn't hard. So when I was in undergrad, I did okay. I think my first semester, and then it would have been, I guess, the fall of my sophomore year that I had to take organic chemistry. And I remember it was must have been after like our second exam or something like that, and I did not well. I was not doing well in organic chemistry, and I had to go talk to my professor. And it was like the scenario of like, you probably need to drop this class because you're gonna fail. And I remember she asked me like what I wanted to do after undergrad and like what my career plans were. And I told her, well, I want to go to vet school. I want to be a veterinarian. And she said, you need to get another plan because if you can't pass my class, you're never going to get into vet school. Like that's never going to happen. And I feel like that only made me like, well, I mean, I think I questioned it at first, but I think later on it became a like, you want to vet?
Yeah, but what did you feel like at that moment when she looked you in the eye?
Yeah.
Something you thought you were going to be doing since you were 12. You're undergrad Michigan State, you're doing great, right?
I was undergrad at Hope College. Yeah.
Oh, Hope
I wasn't at
College.
Michigan. Yeah. Small,
You're
small West Michigan school. Yep.
oh wow, you're at Hope College.
Yep.
And what does that do to a maybe 19, 20-year old?
Yeah.
You're 8 years into this journey of your identity is already built. Like, I'm going to be a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Did that? I mean, because that's the problem I have with some professors, because professors are supposed to be there to inspire you.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, some of them should be giving you a dose of reality, but I don't think they should have done it like that.
Yeah. It was definitely disorienting, and it made me, I definitely had a moment where I was like, okay, I didn't really know what that meant or what that looked like or what I was going to do. I knew that I was already like deep enough into being a biology major that I was going to do a biology major no matter what. And I think I probably still told people I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I didn't really, maybe didn't have a lot of hope that I would at that point in time.
So much for it being Hope College.
Yeah. It's ironic. Yeah.
Yeah, it is ironic.
Yeah.
Hope College, where we take away all hope in all our students.
Oh no. I mean, they don't, but, and I think it was even to the point of like, I didn't like at Hope, I didn't complete my like prereqs that I would have needed to get into vet school. Like I think I needed biochem and I didn't take it at Hope because I think that by the time I was graduating, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to apply to vet school. And I didn't apply until after I completed a couple courses at a community college. So.
And here's the thing that really gets me is that someone at the UT, right, told your husband, hey, she should go to vet school. Mm-hmm. She should be a veterinarian.
Yep.
But you still didn't believe it was possible, or you would be able to, or you could. Correct?
Yeah, so it was when we finished and moved to Tennessee, my husband was in grad school in the forestry, or I think it's like the forestry department, but somebody that he knew or was on his committee was also like, I can't remember exactly, he was also like part of admissions for like the biology graduate program. So I was at this, newly married, like living, in Tennessee and didn't know what I wanted to do, but knew that I wasn't done with school. Like I wanted to do something more. And so I applied to the graduate program in biology. And I don't know if maybe this person should have been talking about my application. I don't know. I don't know exactly how this went down, but he was like, oh, Vander Yacht, like, did your wife apply to a biology program? And he was like, yeah. And they were like, it just really sounds like she wants to be a veterinarian. And like, based on, I guess, maybe what I wrote, it was so long ago now, I don't remember all the details, but yeah, they were like, the veterinary school's right across the street. Like she probably needs to, go to veterinary school and we don't want to steal from them. And so I didn't end up getting into the program that I was applying for graduate school at the University of Tennessee. So. Yeah.
Well, when you start your essay, when you're applying to graduate school, ever since I was 12, I wanted to be a veterinarian. Right. That probably, yeah, that probably did you in, right?
I probably did write about like my passion in biology because that's where it started. So yeah.
Okay, so you apply to Michigan State. Is that the only school you applied to?
So the first time I applied, oh man, it was so long ago. I have to really go back. I did apply to Michigan State the first time, and I think that was it. I think that was it. I don't remember. There might have been one other school that I applied to the first time, but like I said, I had to like go back and take some other classes and stuff, and I didn't get interviews, nothing from that at all. And then, yeah, that was like, I was like, I'm not sure about this. And then we were living in Tennessee and the whole graduate school thing, attempt or maybe secondary plan started. And then I was actually working at the University of Tennessee Veterinary Teaching Hospital when I applied again to the University of Tennessee. And at that point is also when I applied to Ross. So those were the only two I applied to the second time.
And you get into Ross.
I got waitlisted at the University of Tennessee and I got into Ross. Yep.
So, I mean, I'm always impressed with the veterinarians that come out of Ross. I really am. I've met quite a few. I've hired quite a few.
Yeah.
Um, no, and just like regular vet school classes are over the like even you know like when you look at the top 10% of most vet school classes, they really are very studious and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw that coming out of Ross. I felt
Mm-hmm.
as if students coming out of Ross always had a great like social game.
Yeah, we knew
With
how to have fun on that island. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, you got to. What else are you gonna do?
There's
You're
not
on an
much
island.
else to do.
You
Yes.
got to watch out for the bugs in your bed, and
Oh
you
my
got to go to
gosh.
school, and then go
Yes.
drink a margarita on the beach. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
Ross is all about.
exactly. Yeah. It was a good
Is
time.
it? Did everyone ever give you shit for going to Ross? Like, was it a shadow or a cloud over you?
No, it really wasn't. And especially because the place that I had grown up working, he had somebody that was like before me. Like I had never met him when I was young and going in to watch surgery, but he had been in those same shoes like before me and he had gone to Ross. And so I had known about it even back then when I was 12, 13, like before like Ross was newer, much newer then. And so I had known about it for a long time, and it was something that like my parents would kind of tell people, like, yeah, she's going to go to the Caribbean to go to vet school, like because it was something that I kind of had always thought maybe I would do, um, and then just life happened, and I wasn't sure if that was going to be an option. And I don't think either anybody who isn't in vet med doesn't really have a good understanding of the differences with the island schools or like um, you know what I mean? They don't have the knowledge to like give you shit about going to an island school. Um, they only hear like you're going to the Caribbean to go to vet school and they think it's really cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's definitely the only time I would ever have taken out a loan to go live on a Caribbean island. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, you're going to do what you wanted. You're going to do what you have to do at this
Yeah.
point because
Mm-hmm.
this is something if you want it that bad, you're gonna go get it. And
Yeah.
and kudos to you because what that organic chemistry teacher told you could have lasted forever in your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could be still trying to apply to a biology degree, graduate
Yeah.
degree.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You get out of school. Fourth year was at UT.
Yep. Back at the University of Tennessee. Yep. Which was
And
cool
then
because I had worked there in small animal anesthesia as a veterinary assistant. So it
how
was
was
like
that
going,
though? How was that coming back? Like, I mean, obviously,
yeah.
most of the staff was probably still there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Was that
it was so cool. It was like coming
okay?
home. It really was,
Yeah.
and it was a weird time for me too because everybody knew that I had my interview at the University of Tennessee when I applied, and so everybody knew that I didn't get in and got waitlisted, and then then they knew that obviously I made the decision to go to Ross and left the university. But it was nothing but like encouragement from the faculty that I knew. In fact, I remember very clearly telling one of the anesthesiologists that I got into Ross, and I've never seen this. Like he like jumped out of his chair and gave me a hug, and it was like, I don't know, it was only encouraging. So then when I went back, a lot of people, it was really cool. It was like going home, and a lot of the technicians that were still there that I worked really closely with, it was just really comfortable and cool to go back that way.
You graduate, you're
Yep.
done, you got your degree, you end up at the office that you just talked about.
Yeah.
And and like I said, I've worked at many of them around
Yep.
Southern California. I the ones that I enjoy the most and I sign up all my shifts for have phenomenal leadership.
Yes, definitely.
Did you work at multiple band fields or just one?
Yeah, so when I started, all of my like onboarding and my training was at a hospital in Knoxville. Like super great leadership, like a medical director that had been there a long time, she was a great mentor and she still is in leadership in veterinary medicine. She's not with Banfield anymore, but she's with another company. And I ran into her at a conference, I guess it was at AVMA when it was in Philly, I believe, a couple of years ago. And it was cool. Like she was amazing. But then when I was actually done with my onboarding is when I went to the hospital in Chattanooga that was a little struggling with mentorship, and leadership. It was definitely struggling with leadership.
Did you, because you've been a few places, do you feel as if, I always feel that the great leaders don't know they're great, but the bad leaders think they're amazing. Would you agree with that one?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it sucks because
It
like
does.
you're just out of school, you're trying to build your foundation, you're trying to build your identity, and unfortunately, you're in a place where you said you were thrown to the wolves, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
How long out was your leader? Was it even did they have a medical director, and was that medical director only out a year, or was there a manager who was trying to run everything?
Um, when I first got there, it was mostly just a manager and this doctor that had been out of school for a year. There were two hospitals that I was working at going between, and one of them, oh man, it's such a long time I have to remember, but one of them had a doctor that would come in and do relief, and then eventually, when I was there, we got a medical director, um, she was very so helpful and so encouraging, but I think that she was fighting a bit of an uphill battle when it comes to like the other aspects of the leadership that was there at the time. And there were two hospitals, that she was trying to like be the medical director over, and I just think it was tough. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, what is that saying? You can be very good at a bunch of things, but you only can be excellent at one, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And yeah, trying to be a medical director of multiple facilities. I mean, I did it because I own two clinics.
Hmm.
Um, not easy, not
Yeah.
easy because both practices practice differently.
Yeah.
So I could see how that could be very hard, but unfortunately, what you think it was to your detriment that there wasn't someone there full time to help you.
I think it was, yeah, I think it was hard. It was definitely, it was hard. But I also think that I learned so much. And I also think that I see that, having been past that, I see that a little bit as a struggle with some new grads that I've worked with, or just almost out of school vets that I've worked with, that um, they want to have their hand held a little bit more than I ever did. And not to say that like everyone needs to be thrown to the
But are
wolves
you
and put
biased?
in that
Are you
fire.
biased when you say that? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but are you
No, no, you're
biased when you
okay.
say that?
When I say
No,
what? What do you mean?
when you said, "Oh, they want their hand held more than I did."
Oh, well, I guess more than I even had an opportunity to. Not that if I
Okay, so if the
did, yes,
opportunity was there,
yes,
would you have done it?
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. If I had had that, maybe.
So
Um,
you're being a mentor. See, and that's a wonderful
yeah,
thing. So if I've learned like if they want more of that hand holding,
yeah,
it's because they trust you, they feel comfortable with you, they feel safe with you, they enjoy the conversation, they feel like they're learning from
yeah,
you. So take that hand holding as a compliment. I that's a positive thing to look
yeah.
at.
Yeah, I think it is, but also at the same time, like I can't stand over you and watch you do every step of a surgery every day. Like at some point, like you have to, like you're gonna do it, and and I think that to that point, like we need to be instilling confidence in veterinarians, like that you know what you're doing more than you think you do, and I think that was the the positive of kind of being somewhat thrown to the wolves was I learned that like I can do this. And yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
I think it's
no,
a
it
fine
does
line. It's a
completely.
fine line for sure
It is.
because nobody should be thrown to the wolves. But also like you need to learn, like trust yourself and know that you are capable. And I think that sometimes there's that little bit of just enough of the beat down in veterinary school and maybe not enough of the like build you back up to be like, yeah, like vet school is really hard and your clinical year is hard and you're going to be on your internal med rotation and like feel like you're an idiot and not know anything, but like trust yourself and like you don't need to question yourself every step of the way, and like you know more than you think you do.
Well, Peter Weinstein always said it right. He goes, vet school is already a very turbulent plane ride. And the problem is now a lot of these veterinarians that are graduating just got off this turbulent plane ride and
Yeah.
have like the roughest landing there is.
Yeah.
And the problem is it's like they miss the landing, they go back in, they go back up in the air, turbulent ride, and it's another rough landing. And then it's another rough landing.
Yeah.
And then it's another rough landing. You've had how many jobs, how many different practices you've been at now?
Oh my goodness. So in Chattanooga, I was technically, there's two that I was working at. And then we moved to Lansing and I was at a job for 3 months and I was like, it's not it. And then I was at another job for a couple years and then moved to another job. And then so that was 5 before we moved here to New York, where I am now. And when we moved here, I was doing relief. So I don't know. I mean, in a couple months I did relief work, I was at 4 or 5 different hospitals. I mean, so if we're counting all the relief hospitals, it's probably close to 10 or maybe even 11 that I've worked at. But more like 6 that I've like spent a fair amount of time at.
At the 6 that you were at,
yeah,
whether it's 1 week, 1 month, half a year, is it your body or your brain that first gives you the signs that this is not going to work out?
That's a really good question. It's probably like more in my body, to where I would catch myself like dreading getting in the car or like sitting in the car in the parking lot. That was when I started, like when I would know it was time to move on. If I would sit in the parking lot of a practice and be like, all right, I got to go in. And that's kind of, then you make the mental connection of like, oh, maybe this is not sustainable because I'm dreading this. I'm dreading walking in that door.
Well, I mean, what goes through your head? I mean, because when your gut tells you, oh, no, not again. Like, here we go again. I mean, at this point, like, say you're 4 practices in, are you like, WTF? Like, is this how it's going to be everywhere? Is it a me problem? I mean, what do you start thinking?
Oh yeah. I mean, that has definitely gone in through my head. I remember, the last job that I was at, I had so many moments where I was like, I just want to go to work and I just want to be happy and I just want to like feel good at work. And is that even possible? Does that happen? And I mean, I've certainly asked that question in my brain, and I've asked it in like, Facebook mom DVM groups that I'm in, and, just like, where are people happy? Like, I've definitely questioned it. Are there people in vet med that like are happy? Because it feels like sometimes it's hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, and another reason though that you were switching jobs is because your husband was you were following your husband, which is phenomenal. Yes. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's asked enough because obviously this profession is feminized. Mm. What did that do to you? How did that make you feel? Like did you have no problem picking up and moving? I mean,
I really didn't. I feel like we just have always kind of made the decision. Well, my husband's job is very specific, and he's always going to have to kind of be where the work is, go to where the work is, I should say, because he's in a very specific like field in academia. In like, there's not very many schools that are going to have the program that are going to make sense for him to be teaching at. So I always kind of knew, and I always
you knew what you were signing up for.
Yeah, I did.
You're like the coach's wife.
Yeah, no, I really am. And we really had like we've known kind of from from the beginning that he was going to be in a career that was going to be, we were going to probably have to go where the jobs were. And we always felt like we were very fortunate that I could probably find a job anywhere, you know, as a general practitioner veterinarian. So, and I was okay. I've always been okay with that. It's been something that, yeah, I knew what I was getting into. And
Do
it's
you ever
been
find
how
yourself
it is.
thinking, what if we would have stayed here?
Yes, definitely, for sure. So when we moved from Lansing to here, the person I was working for at one point, like, kept me after work one day with some other people around and was like, listen, don't leave. Like, you're amazing. We want you to stay. Like, we'll get you this practice. Like, you'll be in charge. Like, he laid out this whole plan that he had about, like, because he had owned a couple practices in the area, and he was like ready to talk about setting me up, like running a new one that he was looking, maybe thinking about buying, and like trying to talk me into staying. And I remember just being like, this is a lot, because at this point, like, my husband had been spending that whole like a few months traveling all over the country, going to California and Idaho and New York and Ohio, like interviewing at schools for a professor position. And they knew that I was imminently leaving, and he was kind of like, stay and we'll figure this out and make it work. And I was like, whoa, like, I gotta talk to my husband about this. Like, this is a lot. And ultimately, like, it's when I just changed jobs recently, he's down as one of my references, and he kind of called me out of the blue one day, and we chatted for a good long time on the phone. And he was like, listen, if you're ever back here, like, seriously, like, he was apparently talking to me with somebody about like how much they missed having me there. So that was a moment where I was like, what if we had stayed, and what if we had chosen my career over my husband's? And I mean, it's hard to like
It's a
not dabble down
balancing.
that path a little bit. Yeah. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like, yeah, I think that for where we are in life right now, it was the right decision to move here. So,
You're
but
doing
there's
relief
definitely
work.
road.
You're doing relief work, and
Yep.
then you got an unexpected blessing, right?
Yep.
You become pregnant,
Yeah.
and which is great. Kids are amazing. Families second to none, and
Yep.
it should
Yeah.
never ever be. Um, when when you're when you got pregnant, then you were like, oh man, I got to stop this relief thing, and
Yeah.
I gotta really be serious, and I need to support the family.
Hmm.
How was that job that you took?
It was a job that I had done relief at. Um, and I was, I was my favorite place to work. And it wasn't long after I got there that I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought. Like, it was, yeah, it was really hard to, um, have been so excited about taking a job for the first time at a place where I was like, I've worked here a bunch. Like, this is great. I know what this is like. And then there were some things with management that kind of, you know, maybe weren't lining up with what they were saying at the beginning. Especially, there's a couple things here and there, like just some frustrating things and some drama. And then all of a sudden it was like staff turnover city, and just a lot of yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad like right from the beginning, but the once management stuff changed, and then you start getting staff turnover, and it got really hard.
And you felt like you were stuck, right? Because you needed the
Yeah.
money, the income. You're going to have a family. I mean, what now? I couldn't even imagine what it felt like to feel like you're stuck and you couldn't get out.
Yeah, it was hard because I guess I had 4-year-old twin girls already, and I was pregnant, and it wasn't until I guess maybe a little bit after my maternity leave that things maybe started getting a little hard. So I'd been there for a while at that point, and I don't know if it was necessarily that I felt like I couldn't leave, but it was like home and things that home and like maintaining a household and kids, that was stressful enough to where I feel like I've always been pretty decent at like leaving stress at work, like leaving work stress at work. So I felt like, and I was telling myself, I'm in a good place where, um, you know, I'm at work, I can do my job, and I can leave, and thinking that I'm not bringing the stress home from work, but um, feeling like it would be harder to go find a new job than to just stay what
And
I
suffer?
and suffer and stay with what I knew, like a hard I knew versus like an unknown hard, because I'd also been at so many other jobs where like the grass isn't always greener. And I think that was my big fear is I was like, you know, I know what I'm in for here and like I can manage this. And um yeah, it was kind of like having to look for a new job, knowing that I could spend a day at a clinic and interview and get an idea of what they're about, but know that it's not going to tell me enough to know if it's the right place. Because in my experience, it wasn't right away that you found out there were challenges. You know, they took some time to reveal themselves. So it was like even if I interviewed and spent a whole day somewhere, it doesn't like it doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
it was like just adding stress to my family that I felt like wasn't worth it at the time. So I just stayed.
And but okay, so I understand the whole philosophy of working with the devil you know instead of the devil you
Yeah.
don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell an early career grad or any veterinarian that's listening, like if they feel like they're stuck
Mm-hmm.
and they can't go somewhere else, would you tell them just just rub some dirt on it and keep going, or would you tell them now it's
Never.
time for you to move on?
Yeah, never would I tell somebody that. And it's interesting because when, um, you know, when I was with Banfield and I was waiting for the next move that was going to happen with my husband's job and whatnot, I I wasn't happy at my work, and I was kind of I did feel stuck because I knew we would be moving, and so it didn't make sense to find a new job at that point. And I remember at that point being like, I'm never going to stay in a job that I'm unhappy with. And I didn't for a while. There was a job when we first moved to Michigan, and I was only there for a couple months before I was like, this is not the right fit for me. So this time, I think it was more about feeling like my stress at home was the only stress I could manage right now versus like trying to find a new job felt too hard. But I don't think I would ever tell somebody to just grin and bear it. Like find something better if it's not the right fit. And not the right fit doesn't always have to mean that there's something egregiously wrong with the clinic that you're at. You know, maybe it's just not the right fit for you. Because I think that one of the beautiful things about veterinary medicine is like we all can practice differently. And I think that was one of the main problems with where I was the medical director and I practiced very differently. And I think that at some level there was maybe an expectation that I would practice more like her, and that's just not who I am. We're very different people, and I think that that should be celebrated more than not.
So when you said you practice differently, was it
Yeah.
different personalities, different ways of practicing? Did you guys get different outcomes? Like were clients more like you more than her? Like what do you
Yeah, I think many of those things, like I think personality, I think yeah, I think like personality is a big part of it. You know, I think uh, I feel like it. I struggle to explain it without feeling like it makes myself sound heartless, like, and not like and like a bad veterinarian, because I think that she had a much more, I mean, I want to use the word compassion, but not that I don't care, but I just think that I have more of a science like mind when it comes to how I practice versus like an emotional side to practicing. And I don't
Do you
know
have
if
a
that
hard
makes
time
sense.
keeping your emotions under control at all?
No, not at work. Not at work.
You
I
don't get
think
pissed
that
off at people and lose your shit?
I mean not with clients. I have never I tend to be okay, this is here's how I guess I could explain it. I don't think that I'm a type A personality, and I think that a lot of veterinarians, to get to where you have to go to get into vet school, you have to be to get the grades and to get into vet school. A lot of veterinarians are type A, and everything has to be a certain way and like very specific, very outlined. And I'm an island student. Not that all island students are like this, but I'm much more like, I don't know. I mean, we could
Jimmy
probably do
Buffett
this.
lifestyle.
Or yeah, I tend to be more chill and just more laid back and try not to take like everything too seriously. And not to say that like I don't take my job seriously, but like I'm gonna laugh about things that are maybe a little inappropriate to laugh about, or like, not let a euthanasia like wreck me emotionally because I can't, and like I don't have time, like I don't have the mental capacity to like drain myself in that way with my job because I have a family and I have so much else going on
Has
at
a
home.
euthanasia ever wrecked you emotionally, though?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay.
For sure. Yes.
Okay, so you're not a robot. That's good.
I'm
Okay.
not a robot, but I also feel like I just I just tend to, I feel like, take a more practical approach of, I don't
Well, let's
know.
talk
I
about the
don't feel like
concept
I'm
of
doing a good job of
euthanasia.
explaining.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about I mean, what about the cost of care euthanasia? How do you feel about those?
Cost of care in terms of like they come in and it needs something done, and they can't
They
pay
choose
for it.
and they decide, yeah, and they decide to euthanize.
I mean, I've done euthanasias that it comes down to that. I think that I think that euthanasias can affect you emotionally, but still like keep a level head about it. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm doing a good job of explaining what I mean.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, the thing is, like, a lot of people talk, me, um, moral injury is a big problem, right? And cost of care drives a lot of the issues that we have to deal with because, be honestly, every single patient you see, you have to go over cost.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, euthanasia is on every single possible treatment. I don't care if it's coming in for a hot spot or for stage 4 cancer,
Mm-hmm.
euthanasia is always on the table. If someone comes in and they say to you, and you can take care of this animal, but they're like, no, we're just going to euthanize. What does that do to you?
I think it makes me feel like I wish I could make it better. I mean, I wish I didn't have to make it be about money. Um, and I think it's hard because it's easy to talk about like broad broad examples, but I think that it's such a like case specific situation, because if you're talking about like a 6 month old puppy with parvo, I think that I'm having a lot different feelings than I'm talking about like a 12-year-old dog with a splenic mass, because those both are scenarios where like that could be a potential conversation where it's like, this is what the cost of this treatment is going to be, and like we can't afford it. I think that fortunately I have not had to be in a lot of those situations where it's a 6 month old puppy and we have to have that kind of a talk. I'd say, more often it's been an older pet with something that is life probably life limiting anyways. But I think it's a very frustrating scenario as a veterinarian because of course you want to fix it, and of course you don't want it to be about money. Um,
Yeah,
and
the money piece of our profession sucks.
it
It
does.
does.
Yeah. And it's
It
hard.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could, I bet you if you polled veterinarians out there, if they could treat every animal they saw for free but still make a living, they'd do it.
Yeah. I mean, nobody likes to talk about the cost. And that's why sometimes as a veterinarian, it's nice to just send the technician in and make them go over the money thing, which
Yeah.
is what we get to do sometimes. But yeah, it's definitely one of the hardest, most draining parts of the job for sure.
Well, talking about straining parts of the job, I love this story you told me. You had to do modules every year, right? Learning modules every
Mm-hmm.
year at a practice. And on one of them, I think, if maybe I got the story a little wrong, but I think I got it. There was a module on burnout and compassion fatigue.
Yep. Yep.
And then all the staff is like, holy shit, that's us.
Yeah, we're
And
burnt
then the
out.
next year it was gone.
Yeah, it was all the same modules. It was like one year it was like 7 and then it was 6 or something, and it was burnout and compassion fatigue, and it was literally, I remember everybody was like, we did that burnout and compassion fatigue, and like, oh my gosh, like I think I might be burnt out. And then the next year when we had to do those, all the modules were the same, like the exact same, like learning material, except and I remember because I pointed it out and everybody was like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird. I was like, that's really weird. And this is like a corporate that, like, there's a lot of people that they were just like, must have been like, oh, I'm burnt out. And then they're like, oh, let's just not point that out to you again, because maybe they
What do you
lost
think
some,
that
I don't
says
know.
about corporate, though?
So much. So much. I just feel like it was such a, like, well, we don't care. That's what it feels like. It says like we don't care that you're burnt out. And it felt like, yeah, it did not feel good to be like, oh, you're taking that module away because we're all realizing we're burnt out.
Well, when you and I met, or well, when I first recognized you and I reached out to you, you basically, what was it? What was that post? I don't want to make sure. I want to make sure I get it right.
It
What
was
was it you
something
said?
about it was something
I can't
about
do this anymore.
veterinarians. Oh, what I posted? I said something like, I've only been out of vet school about 10 years and I have thought about leaving the profession, because it was a post about something about like young veterinarians leaving the profession, and that was what I had said was, I've been out like 10 years and I'm already like sometimes regret and wonder if I could get out. Um, of being a veterinarian. And I make the joke all the time, like, I should have gone to dental school.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's what I'm trying to get at,
Yeah.
because burnout is being exhausted, right? You're emotionally exhausted. You're despondent, meaning that you're not really interacting with your family or friends. You have a lack of self-worth. That's burnout.
Mm-hmm.
What you were basically saying is, I can't do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's completely different. So do you believe you were burnout?
Um, well, I do. I think I was, at least of that job. I mean, of where I was. Um, I feel like in the couple months now that I've been at a new job, well, a couple months. I've been here at a new job for about a month, but I've left my other job about a month and a half. My husband made some comment to me the other night about like how much of a better mood I seemed in the evenings. And like, I think that just says a lot to where I was carrying a lot more home than I was letting myself think that I was.
Did that 12-year-old standing in the doorway think that she would be carrying home all these emotions to her bed every night?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Are you
Because the
sleeping?
place,
Are you sleeping better?
well, I have a 2.5 year old, so I'm sleeping a little bit better, but it's still not great sleep.
And what is your what your husband studies fire?
He's an assistant professor and he teaches in the sustainable resources management. So like it's basically like it used to be the forestry department basically. So and he teaches silviculture, fire ecology, and wildlife management.
Fire ecology.
Yeah, so all of his research for his master's and his PhD had to do with like fire.
Okay. So has he ever said your profession or what you're going through looks a lot like what I'm studying?
What do you mean?
A lot of people say basically veterinary medicine is like a forest fire, right?
Hmm.
Your job, you're going job to job. Everywhere you're going is toxic. Everywhere has its own issues.
Hmm.
Like it's not under control. I mean, I think that's weird, but I think there's somewhat of a
Yeah.
relationship between those two.
Yeah, he has never made that connection, but I think that he has noticed that in my career and in in my job, and he has in the last month and a half made so many comments about how different this new job that I've been in has felt to him. Um, and he came to pick up the my girls had to come with me to work one day, and he just for like a little bit because he had a meeting, and then he came to pick them up, and later that day he was like, the vibe is just different there. And I was like, it's a lot different. So
Do you want your kids to be veterinarians?
nope. Mm-mm. They're not allowed to go to vet school, none of them.
So if you were back at Hope College right now and you saw that organic teacher
Oh
and and you see her,
yeah.
would you say I agree with you, or would you say, you know what, you were right?
I would I still would not agree with her. I mean, I think that I when I look back, there is no way I would have ever been able to convince myself to not go to vet school. So it's easy to make jokes about saying I should have gone to dental school, but I think this is I I still feel like this is what I should be doing. Um and I think I wouldn't have. There was no one that was going to steer me in a different direction. Even somebody that told me you absolutely are never going to do it. Um, yeah.
Yeah, my joke all the time was I want to go work at the garden center at Home Depot. You know, like what's the worst that could happen? I overwater the impatience. I kill a flat of impatience.
Yeah.
You know, in order to I help. You know, a bag of soil rips as I'm trying to help someone load it in their car. I just think like there's sometimes in our profession that we need to keep looking at. We got to let the 5 to 10% of the bad just disappear, and it's so easy to say because this profession is amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. I mean, you get to wear PJs to work and you get to work with animals.
Professional pajamas, I like to call them.
Do you ever take your kids to school in your professional pajamas?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Any of them come up to you and say, "Oh, what do you do for work?"
Well, I mean, they're still so little, so not really, but my girls they've seen surgery, they've seen some things, so it's still
You're going to
fun.
get that bug in them.
I
You're going to get
know,
that bug in them.
I know. I just think that uh, veterinary medicine is going to be so different by the time that they're looking to go to choose their careers. Um, I think it's already so different from when I was 13 standing in a doorway. I and I don't know that I'm, at that when their time has come to decide their career, who knows, I guess, what veterinary medicine is going to look like, and it scares me the way it's going, and I think
So
that's the biggest reason.
how would you want it to see it be different for you to give the blessing of going to vet school to your children?
Hmm. Hmm. I that's a really good question. I think that I don't even know if I can articulate that, because I feel like it's easier to explain what is problematic right now in veterinary medicine. I mean, we already talked about like the cost of care, and people's expectations of what they think, like what they want quality of care wise versus what they're willing to pay for. I think there's a huge disparity there. I think that it would have to be I mean, and a big part of it is I don't want them to have the student loans that I do, so maybe that's a big part of it. They need to be able to be able to get an affordable education.
Have you ever thought of opening your own practice?
I have. I've thought of like becoming a partner, and one of the jobs I took at when we worked in Michigan, that was a big reason why I took the job that I did, because it was like, well, maybe if we, that's something that could be on the table down the way. But again, I think it's been the decision of like my husband's job kind of taking the priority and being the deciding factor in where we've lived. And we haven't lived anywhere for more than 3 years. So have been in New York here it'll be 4 years this fall. And that's the longest we've ever lived somewhere. So it's like, it's hard to even have the idea to own a practice when we've moved so much, just with the risk involved with that. And then also the financial aspect of having a lot of student debt and taking on more debt
Yeah, but you got to
feels
realize
unattainable.
no, that's not true, because student debt's not held against you. You can get. Let me tell you, there are so many lenders to veterinarians to start a
Yeah.
business, because I think you've been through enough. Like, you know exactly not what to do,
Yeah.
and that's what's going to make you an exceptional leader.
Yeah.
Think of I don't know. I just I hear these stories from veterinarians all the time, and it's just like, you should go start your own thing, because you know exactly what you don't want.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you would create a practice more than likely that would be thriving. You would have staff
Yeah.
that want to work with you. You'd have early career grads that want to come learn from you. You would have all that because you know exactly how not to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like parenting. Like, I loved my parents, but I knew exactly not what I was not going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I knew for a fact I was not just going to put my hand out in front of my kid and say, oh, that's good enough, I could stop them in an accident. Or those, yeah, I'm older than you, so that's how they used to do it back in the day.
You mean like the arm brace, the mom
Yeah,
arm?
the arm brace, yes.
I do that. I do that. My kids are in the back seat. Like I just think that's evolutionarily, like, we all do. That's just a thing. Because they'll be in the back seat strapped in their 5-point harness, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I will be doing nothing but maybe ending up with a broken arm.
Exactly. Oh man, I know. Well, you're 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
Are you bracing for impact, or are things
Listen,
good?
yes. Well, I'm trying to not go to that mindset, because it's always kind of been like this, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I'm trying to have a good attitude and just stay optimistic. And I have been very happy at this new job. So hopefully, I can stay that way. I feel like there is really good support, and that makes a big difference. Like doctor support and staff support. I think it makes a huge difference. So I am definitely not in the same place where I had, commented on the post that kind of, drew the attention originally. I feel like I'm definitely in a better place. And, it's just a process for me. Like, every day like you said, getting rid of that 5% that's bad and like holding on to the good. And I love being able to help owners and being able to help clients. And I have been really lucky so far at this job that there have been a lot of opportunities to do that. In just helping people with decision making, and because that is what I would say one of the things that I surprisingly found how much I love about veterinary medicine
Is it
is
private or corporately owned?
it is a corporate. It's a
Okay.
corporate. It's a smaller corporate,
Oh, good.
but it's
Okay.
also a very small hospital that had been corporate until a couple years ago, um, and a lot of the people were able to hang through the transition. From when they were private. Like there is a lot of people that have worked there for a very long time, which I think speaks volumes to the leadership that they have had there. So, um, yeah, they've had some really really great clients, and um, I am, you know, I'm feeling a lot more optimistic right now, and I hope that that's kind of how it stays for a while.
Yeah, you just got to keep. It's it's. I don't want to say you got to keep grinding because veterinary medicine alone is a grind.
Yeah.
Personally, you know, psychologically,
Mm-hmm.
identity wise, time for family, making it a sustainable choice for a profession.
Yeah.
Um, I hope this works for you. I
Yeah.
hope it's fine. And before you post anything like you do, give me a call first. I want to see if I can help you
Yeah, for sure. I think,
because
yeah.
I mean, let's say right now there's a new grad listening
Hmm.
and they're sitting across the table from you, no camera, no microphones, nothing. What would you tell them right now?
I would tell them that you can do way more than you think that you can right now, and don't settle for something that doesn't feel like the right fit.
I love it.
Find something that's the right fit, because
Yeah,
there's it's possible.
yeah. Well, I'm praying that this is the one for you. I hope
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna have to follow up with you. I'm gonna have to see how this is all going.
Yeah.
Well, with your history, you'll probably be in Colorado next time I talk to
Oh
you.
my gosh. Well, I mean, the thing I feel like I'm not letting myself be convinced that we're anywhere long term until my husband like either gets tenure or like pieces out from the world of academia, because I just don't even know. Like he, yeah. I mean, there's been some things that he's applied for in the last year or so that
There you go.
would make, and it's hard because since we've moved like every 3 years,
Yeah.
like coming up on this fourth year is like, is it time to reload? Are we moving again? And I don't know.
Well,
It's
this time, say, hey, are there no jobs in South Florida?
we would never move. We're from Michigan. We would never
I
move to
know, but
South
that. Oh
Florida.
man, the weather. I'm
Listen,
just thinking of the weather. Oh,
in South Florida, absolutely not. It was way too hot for me down there. When we were in St. Kitts, my husband would lay on the floor, like in his underwear, on the tile floor where we didn't have air conditioning, and he would go, "It's so hot." And I would say, you are allowed to say that 3 times a day. We're in the Caribbean. We're like about as close to the equator as like you can live, and you can say that 3 times. I know it's hot. It's hot. Like he would die before moving to South Florida. We live in central New York. That would be also like my children. That would be a big culture shock for them,
yeah,
weather-wise.
yeah. No kidding. Well, Jillian, it was so good talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
I will definitely be keeping up with you. If people want to get a hold of you, what are your social media contacts?
Oh gosh, I do not have a huge veterinary social media, but I'm Jillian Vander Yacht pretty much everywhere. So
Jillian Vander Yacht.
Yeah.
That's a great last name for South Florida.
It is. It
I'm just
is.
saying. Or the West Coast.
I have to be able to make enough money to have a yacht for it to be worthwhile, though, because otherwise you just got the name and people think you're fancy, and then they meet you and they're like, you're not as fancy as I thought you were.
Well, you get that too when you say you're a veterinarian, then they ask you, why aren't you what I used to call an RD, a real doctor?
Oh, that's rude.
I know. Well,
real doctors treat more than one species. I had a t-shirt.
I know, that's right. We keep it real. Well, I want to thank the listeners for listening in. And if you have any questions and you can't find Vander Yacht on socials, just drop me a message. I'll make sure she gets it. There's a lot going on in our world as far as veterinary medicine goes, and there's a lot of issues, and we try to take care of them one small talk at a time here. So again, this one, I really just want to get into, hey, if you're the one who can't find the right job, I have a guest today that has lived it.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
and that was the whole point. It's just like, there's so many reasons for things not working out. So I want to thank you again, Jillian, for bringing light to this, because I think a lot of people think there's something wrong with them if they can't get comfortable or find the right fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you got to take yourself first, because the profession needs you more than you need the profession. So you just find what works. And, here at Irreplaceable Truths, we always love to ask one last question.
Okay.
What is one irreplaceable truth that you have learned so far in your 10 years that they did not teach you in school?
Ooh. That nothing is black and white. I think that in vet
my wife's been out of vet school for 28 years. She still doesn't know that one.
Yeah. I think that once we start to learn to see the gray and to recognize that there's a different perspective, everything is gray. There's no right or wrong way to do it, and there's a lot of gray area, and that's okay. It's okay.
And she just defined veterinary medicine as an oral hematoma. We will catch you next time here on Irreplaceable Truths. We'll talk to you soon.